Hey, what's up? Welcome to another rousing episode of Urban Politics. I'm your humble host, Fizz Ed Music, and this is Urban Politics, where politics lives. Before I even get into the politics of the day and all that good stuff, I want to give a shout out to my dude. Some people know him as Birdo. I know him as Neighborhood Animal. We did an album back in the day, Black Dynamite. It's got a Facebook page. Check that out. It goes hard. That's my dude. He had a back to school drive for the kids in the community. Gave away like 200 book bags full of goodies and stuff. I wanted to interview him there. Didn't get a chance to do that, but I'm going to interview him another day here on the show because I'm always talking about issues in the community and stuff like that. But I want to shine a light on people that I know personally and otherwise in the community that are actually putting the muscle and the hustle to give back to the community and do things that better the community. So we're going to deal with that later on. But before we get into that, let's get into this, the politics of the day. Let's jump into it, right into it like a car and drive. There's all types of tasty politics to sink our teeth into. Let's start with the hot topic everybody's talking about is Afghanistan. Actually, I want to talk about Afghanistan and immigration. But I'm going to talk about Afghanistan first, and then we'll talk about immigration, some of the myths that surround it, right? All right, so check me out. Afghanistan and immigration. 20 years and $2 trillion later, we are left with, we left a bunch of weapons there, which is, that's horrible. Still scrambling to get out. We got, they were saying, or Michael Moore was saying that a lot of Americans are getting out without incident. And he was saying that is directly attributed to Biden's good deal making skills. You know, he went in there and had to kind of fix up or actually clean up Trump's mess, because Trump made a deal with the Taliban that was garbage, and then Biden, he had to follow through on that deal. And, him pulling out, it didn't look so good. It was kind of ugly. It was messy. It has been messy. It still is messy. But, Michael Moore was mentioning how a lot of them are getting out without incidents. He was saying that planes have left the airport and they haven't been shot out the sky, and all of that is because, Biden went in there and negotiated a good deal to get Americans out. Biden was even saying they're not sure how many Americans are still there. That's pretty problematic. But they're saying they're going to figure that out and they're going to go ahead and get those Americans out. They were also saying that they were going to give, some safe harbor to some of these Afghanistanians, Afghans who supported, U.S. military efforts while we were there. So, they went against their own people, their own government to support us. So they should get, some kind of safe harbor here in America now that we're leaving. So Biden was saying, not sure how many Americans are still there. He was also saying we've had 4 presidents since going to Afghanistan, 2 Republican, 2 Democrat. And he was not going to pass it to a 5th. He said the buck stops with me. I felt him on that. Come on, man. He's the president. He said we done been there for 20 years. Like I said, 20 years and $2 trillion. We don't have anything to show for it. We don't even have an embassy. Other people have went there and tried and couldn't get anything happening either. So we spent a lot of time and a lot of money over there. I feel bad because, like I said, we spent all that time, all that money, left the Taliban some really nice toys that they've been playing with. All these bombers and M16 and all this other stuff. And, so that's a shame, that we're just leaving with nothing. But sometimes I guess you just got to take your bowl and go. Biden was saying that. He said, I'm not going to sit here and put people on. I'm not going to sit here and tell you just a few more years in Afghanistan and we'll wrap this thing up. No, it's time to go. It is time to go. Like I said, 20 years later, come on, man. We're done. We're done. We spent all that money. We've propped up their military as much as we can. If they're not going to defend their own women and children, we got to skedaddle. We got problems here at home. That $2 trillion could have went a long way here in America. Instead, we spending it abroad. And like I said, I have nothing to show for it. So that is what it is. Michael Moore was saying we've invaded Korea, Vietnam, Cambodia, Iraq, in 91 and in 03 and now Afghanistan. What I'm saying? When does it end? Are we done? We probably should be. America does not have an appetite for war. Why? Because of all these wars that I just mentioned. People are sick of it. We go to war. Kids die. I say kids because the average soldier is 19. You know, the average age of the average soldier in Vietnam anyway was 19. No, 19. I got that from that song. But that's real. You know what I'm saying? Our soldiers are young American men and women, and we put them in harm's way every time we have these foreign skirmishes or whatever, these wars, some of these proxy wars we get involved in, and a lot of times we just have nothing to show for it. And I was reading a thing where they said, yeah, a lot of military contractors and military profiteers, they make out from wars, but you know, civilians, all the thing that happens to them is wars. They lose loved ones, you know, so it's got to stop, and I think we're sick of it. Most Americans just do not have the appetite for war. So that's, you know, it is what it is. We're probably, hopefully, not going to go to another big war because like Michael Moore was saying, we did all this and have nothing to show for it, and I think people are just pretty plumb sick of it, right? So there's that. Now let's talk about immigration. There's a lot of reason why people are against immigration. But there's some things that people should know about immigrants, because all the time I'm hearing people demonize immigrants. You know, and I'm not even going to say who has, you know, said some of these things to me, but a lot of different people say these things, you know. Most of these immigrants who are coming over, you know, they're in gangs and they're drug dealers and they're coming over here to tamper with the vote. None of that's true. Let's talk about it. Immigration. Immigrants have lower crime rates than American citizens. There is a reduction of 5% violent crime for every 1% of foreign-born population. So every 1% of a foreign person you get in, you're going to have a 5% decrease in crime. Probably because that foreign person does not want to get kicked out of this country. They trying to stay here, so why they going to be involved in crime? Not saying that people who are foreign-born do not do crime. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying most often it's going to be someone who's from here committing this crime other than a foreign-born person because, you know, 9 times out of 10, they want to stay here in America. Talking about how they steal elections, they don't steal elections. No one has stolen an election. Trump's Department of Justice said that our last election was the most secure election in our nation's history. So no one is stealing elections, but people always go there with that. There was a outlet, the Cooperative Congressional Election Study, and they put out a questionnaire, and at the bottom of it there was a question, are you a citizen? And some people, of course, got it wrong. So they used that, you know, they took that and they ran with it to say, oh, look at all these people who are voting illegally. No, actually, you know, a lot of people are just going to answer that question wrong because they're not paying attention. And, you know, I got this stuff from Amber Ruffin, and she had even said, too, she said, what's more believable, that people accidentally mark that question or that they pick that time, you know, to confess to a federal crime? See what I'm saying? So they knew that. Some people were going to accidentally mark that question. They used that, and it was an instant, you know, conservative talking point, and they've been throwing it around, you know, forever. We got illegal, what they would want to call illegal aliens and illegal immigrants voting. You know, they're voting all over the place and stuff, and that's just not the truth. They were saying, they were saying they put out a report saying that in the report, they did the report in 2018 saying that in 2014, 5.7 million people had voted illegally. 5.7 million illegal immigrants voted, and that was not true. Actually, what they found it was 5. 5. Think about 5. You know what I'm saying? People voted illegally, not 5.7 million. So, like I said, they took that and they ran with it, and it's been a conservative talking point, and they always use that. You know, we got illegal immigrants, they're stealing the vote, and they're voting illegally, and what did Trump say? You know, how many illegal aliens voted this last election? Well, it looks like 5, and you know what I'm saying? And that's coming out of Trump's Department of Justice. So he really needs to get with it. They all need to get with it, and that's just a lie, you know? So I think all of this stuff is more about demonizing people of color and about being outnumbered and the loss of resources. So that's what's really going on here. We already know that the GOP, they love to use people of color as a political football. It works. They can always drum up a lot of fear amongst suburban whites, telling them that people who look like me are going to be living next to them. Why is that such a big deal? You know what I'm saying? But whatever, you know, tell them that, you know what I'm saying, brown people are going to be in their neighborhood and taking over their schools and stuff. So, you know, that really gets them excited and gets them charged. So they've been using that for years. And it's also about being outnumbered, which is stupid too. The lady from Acorn that said that years ago to the Republican Party, America is like a piece of toast in the oven. It is browning. This is the browning of America, you know, because they were mad at her because she had got all those brown people to vote for Barack Obama the first time going around, which put him in there the first time. But that is the face of America. It is changing. I remember seeing a commercial years ago with John Cena. It was the mom, and he was walking down the street, and he said, picture an average American. He said, close your eyes and picture what the average American looks like. He said, open your eyes. He said, what did you picture? He said, well, number one, it's not a man. He said, number two, they're not white. Said the average American is a woman of color. That's the average American, right? So that's what it is. The GOP is going to have to get with the times, and they're going to have to broaden their tent, you know, because they're going to need some of these people of color, some of these women of color, to vote for their candidates if they call themselves trying to keep any type of office or anything like that at all. So there's a lot of that going on. And also, my dad always talks about this. It is a huge concern. It's a big thing. I think it's a huge thing that's driving all this political animus. What is it? The loss of resources. People are so afraid of that, the loss of resources. Right now, they're always talking about how we don't have enough water to drink. And in California, they're rationing the water. A lot of these places, they're using the water for the wrong things, if you ask me. You know, Bill Maher was talking about how California is using all this water to grow some nut. I talked about it on the show a couple of weeks ago. That's ridiculous. You know, why are they doing that when people don't have water to drink, water to bathe with? Y'all rather give it to some corporation. Why? Because you want a bunch of money so they can use it to cultivate some kind of nut that they selling for some money when people don't have water to drink. See, that's a lack of having your priorities together. Welcome to America. You know, where the dollar always comes first, and that's a problem. Welcome to capitalism. So that is what it is, but that's really what it is, a loss of resources. We really got to get serious around here, because they always talk about, I think I read something a while ago that said in 2050 there won't be enough food to eat. And that's why you see a lot of people talking about synthetic meats and synthetic foods and stuff like that. And what is it, the Impossible Burger, Impossible Meat, stuff like that, you know, the meatless cheeseburger and stuff. Looking for food alternatives, because in a minute here it'll be hard to feed everybody, right? So we got to figure out how we're going to do that. So people get scared of that, and that's a lot of things that pushes all this anti-immigrant sentiment and stuff like that. And I get that. I hear that. But I don't think the answer is to bar a bunch of people from coming into America. You know, I don't think that's the answer, because immigration has made this country great. Immigration is the reason why right now I could go up the street and go to a Taco Bell. Heck, forget that. Immigration, right now I could leave and go up the street and go to this taco truck up the street that is the bomb. They have the best beans I've ever tasted in my life. I told my mother about it. All these beans are amazing. Immigration did that. You know what I'm saying? Immigration is the reason you can do all the things in this country that we love and enjoy. They come from immigration. Other people bring over their brains. They bring over their talent. They bring over this technology. They give it to America. They become American citizens. And that's a great thing. You know, bring us your huddle masses, yearning to be breed free. And we need to keep that going. Definitely need to keep that going. You know what I'm saying, with these Afghan people who have helped us while we've been over there. You know, they repped the red, white, and blue. They did it at their own peril. They went against their own people. They went against their own government. Now that we're pulling out, hopefully we're going to give them some safe harbor. You know, like I said, it says it right there at the feet of that of Our Lady Liberty, right? Bring us your huddle masses, yearning to breed free. Some of that. So hopefully we're going to do right by them. It seems like Joe Biden is doing right by them. I was watching Morning Joe. He had a general on there, and the general echoed what Joe was saying, that yes, that's who we are as Americans. Of course we're going to have these people come over. Of course we're going to give them asylum here in the United States of America. You know, they repped the red, white, and blue. They had our backs over there. They went against their own government to support us. Now we got their back now that we're leaving. Good to hear it. Good to hear it. Moving on, let's talk about cell phones and social media. I tell you, cell phones and social media, I tell people all the time, it'll be the death of us all. These computers, you know, one day will rise up and take care of all of us, get us all out of here, right? So, cell phones and social media, a vice president at Facebook said that he was tremendously guilty because of the dopamine-driven feedback loop that they have created. And he said it's destroying how American society works. I agree with that. The average high school student has the same anxiety level as a mental patient in the 1950s. And that's directly related to social media. Cell phones and social media are linked to depression, bullying, hate speech, fake news, sleep disturbance, relationship problems. My goodness. Also blamed, social media is also blamed for turning people into needy, shady, passive-aggressive, mean, fake outrage having, fake bravery having, fake pretty, fake supportive, has people faking their lives instead of living their lives. I know a lot of y'all feel me on that. How many times have you seen like Instagram, you see people on there living their best life? That is not their best life. They're doing all of this just to set up a scene for anybody who's watching, because they want you to believe that they got all this money or they go to all these great places, and none of that stuff is true. And then you got to think, how much time and effort did they put into building this little picture, this little scene for you so that you'd be envious of them, and they weren't spending that time on actually enjoying their life or trying to seek out something that would have gave them real life enjoyment or real life fulfillment. It's silly, it's pathetic. It is the gram. A lot of people just doing it for the gram, and we need to get off of that. Then he also talked about how it also has what I call people living their life for likes. It's a lust for likes. And a lot of the kids have this bad, doing anything for likes, going on and on and on about the likes. Yeah, I did such and such. I got all these likes. Yeah, they did such and such, was beating up such and such. They got all these likes on that fight, all these views on that fight. And it's sad. We're living in a society where people are obsessed with views, obsessed with obsessed with validation from people they've never met, probably never will meet, probably don't know in real life, but they're obsessed with validation from these people. That's what the internet has done. That's what cell phones have done to us. Ruined self-esteem, ruined comedy clubs, ruined childhoods, has ruined attention spans, has ruined concerts, has ruined dating. I said right now we are in the swipe left dating culture, and you know what I'm talking about. Now, I've never been on Tinder because ever since Tinder's been a thing, I've been in a relationship, and I'm an old man, so I don't get on Tinder. Never been on Tinder, but I got partners on Tinder, and people talk about Tinder all the time. And what? So now people are just swiping left looking for love? You know that ain't gonna work. And you ain't looking for love. You ain't looking for Mr. and Mrs. Right. You looking for Mr. and Mrs. Right now. That's what the internet has done to us. That is what cell phones have done to us. This convenience. A friend of mine, a lawyer watcher of the show, my dude Rasan, what's up? You know what he calls them? Creature comforts. That's what these are. These telephones are creature comforts. These cell phones, they're creature comforts. We are, they give us all this access to everything we want. You just hit Google, you got to answer any question you ever had. But we're paying for that, because everybody's always got their head down and stuck in a cell phone, right? So, yeah, this is what cell phones have done to us. This is what social media has done to us. People say things on the internet they would never say in person. And I say, Twitter fingers turn to trigger fingers, and now everybody's triggered. And that's the internet, ain't it? I think Drake said that. Trigger fingers turn to Twitter fingers. And I said, now everybody's triggered from what you said with your Twitter fingers. So that's what it is, When people become internet thugs, and that's what it is. People are real hard behind that keyboard. These are things they would never in their life say to a person's face or say in polite conversation, but all of a sudden behind the keyboard, they just get all this courage, and they say these hurtful and hateful things to people, and it's a really bad side effect of the internet. That's what it is. So, a lot of things have come from the internet. They were saying these days, people just don't reply to a text. You don't want to be bothered with somebody. You don't even have the decency to let them know why you ain't feeling them no more, to let them down, anything like that. You just don't reply to a text. You just don't reply to DMs. What do they call that? Ghosting. Now, that's interesting because let me tell you something. Back in my day, I ghost people all the time. There wasn't no term for it. But if I didn't want to be bothered, I just ghost you. I just ain't gonna respond to a text. You know what I'm saying? And people do that commonplace now. If they don't want to mess with you, be bothered with you, they don't respond to your text. They don't respond to your DM. They know you looking for them. They know you trying to get a hold of them. And it's easy to just push you out. I can just ignore you. And I say this, all of this I'm talking about, I'm a culprit of it too. As I'm pointing the finger this way, believe me, there's three pointing back at me. I'm all on the cell phone. I'm coming to you right now through my cell phone. How about that? Now I have a camera that I'm getting into using more and more on my computer, but I've always done this from the cell phone. And I'll probably do a lot of stuff from the cell phone. Why? It's convenient. It's easy. You do it. You render it. You post it. You're done. So there it is. But we pay for these creature comforts, right? We pay for this access. It takes us all these steps are just taking us more and more away from each other, making us more and more isolated from each other. So that's a problem. That is what it is. These are some of the side effects of cell phones and social media. So we got to check ourselves. Don't be afraid to cut your phone off at night. Spend some time with your loved ones. Spend some time with your significant other. Spend some time with your kids. I have to check myself on that sometimes too. It doesn't count when you're watching your kids and you're on your cell phone. Sometimes you got to turn that cell phone off and give them your undivided attention. Be there in the moment. It's what mom always talks about, being present in the moment. That's what we got to do. Throw this cell phone out the window. Don't throw it out the window. It costs a lot of money. Turn it off and put it on your chair. Put it somewhere out of sight. And be in the moment with your family and friends and loved ones, because I guarantee you when you're on your deathbed, you're not going to be thinking about a meme or something you saw. You're going to be thinking about all the time you did or didn't spend with your family, friends, and loved ones. You feel me? So moving on, let's talk about the Biden administration. They approved the largest increase in food assistance benefits in SNAP program history. $121 per person before the pandemic will now raise $36 per person. The increase is based on an update to the algorithm that governs the Thrifty Food Plan, which tracks the cost of 58 different categories of groceries needed to provide a budget-conscious diet for a family of four. The changes have enormous potential to reduce the potential and potentially eliminate child hunger and poverty in this country. This will reflect much more accurately with what food actually costs in these communities. Programs that have temporarily increased unemployment benefits, halted evictions, and suspended student loan payments have been godsends to Americans dealing with the coronavirus. True indeed. A lot of these programs have directly helped Americans who have been needing this help big time. We're in the midst of a pandemic. Now we got all these different variants. Got the Delta variant, the Lambda variant, all these other variants. Not making that up. Google it. So we got a lot of different variants out here. A lot of different ways that this coronavirus has shapeshifted and it's coming at us different ways. So we're not out of this thing. We're not out of this thing. Check some of these numbers. Corona deaths are the highest they've ever been. So right now, people still need this relief. They still need some of these programs, and these programs have literally directly helped Americans. A lot of this stuff was a long time coming anyway. I think we've been needing some of these programs if we were going to deal with poverty in this country, if we were going to deal with the income gap. We still need to deal with those things, but this right here is a step in the right direction. It was. You have a lot of people poo-pooing it. I'm sorry. There's some people on the right who are always going to poo-poo a social program because they feel like nobody should get nothing when everybody gets help. These same people who poo-poo these social programs have never said anything to me about corporate welfare. That's right. Corporate subsidies is corporate welfare. So it's cool when corporations get money from the government, but it's not cool when individuals get money from the government. I don't understand that. And I don't know if that makes me a liberal or just a human being who's into treating human beings humanely. But I don't get that. When some of my conservative buddies tell me, the worst thing to happen when they start giving people handouts. Really? But it's okay when they give a corporation corporate subsidies, when they give them corporate welfare. I don't hear you screaming about how that handout is going to cripple that corporation and make it so that corporation don't want to work anymore. Nah, it's only when the government helps people. That's garbage. But that's just me talking, You have your own opinion on that. But I think these programs are a good thing, and I think they are a godsend, and even some of them I've been able to benefit from. So, you know what I'm saying? Kudos to Joe Biden. And I tell you, it's all about legacy, man, especially that CTC credit. I said that. It's all about legacy. That's an older gentleman, and I guarantee you, he's like, hey, look, I'm in my 80s. When I look back on this presidency, I want to be able to say, boom, here's something I did. Barack Obama can point at Obamacare, the American Care Act, and say, hey, I gave you that. I did that. Joe Biden said, I want to be able to look at the CTC credit and say, hey, kids are getting money a month now. I did that. $300 a month for these youth. I did that. I'm helping them, and that help will last forever to keep going on. So hopefully they make that happen. But these programs are a good thing, and they've helped a lot of people. So moving on, our last point before I get to my IPA of the week is I want to talk about how Catholic bishops coming sideways at Joe Biden over abortion, of course. They want to deny Joe Biden communion over his stance on abortion. Doing that, they risk alienating members of the church, most of whom support abortion rights. Polls show that the majority of Catholics share Biden's view in support of abortion. The bishops could push Catholics further away at a time when Catholic Church membership is already on the decline. So they're already losing members. You know why that is. I know why that is. Been a lot of stuff going on with the Catholic Church and some of these priests, how they were abusing kids and then would just get sent to another parish or ministry or whatever to do the same thing again to another group of kids, and they just kept moving them around instead of reporting them to the police because they didn't want to put their precious church on blast. And then they paid out, some of the survivors of this abuse or whatever, but then they were saying they weren't going to apologize or whatever, and then they did apologize, but really, is there any apologize when you have hundreds of kids who have been, sexually molested by priests, and it's sad because for years I remember hearing that joke, a joke that I never thought was funny. A lot of people never thought was funny. Come to find out it wasn't a joke. This was really going on. Priests were molesting children. So it blows me away that they've had all this stuff going on with the Catholic Church. And they have the audacity to come at him about abortion. Now, you hear people all the time talk about, like I said, I've had people talk, the party of infanticide. Really? Get that out of here. And I mean, even if you want to be on that ass infanticide to support abortion rights, whatever. But I still think it's pretty hypocritical of the Catholic Church to come at Joseph, what did my sister say? Joseph Robinette Biden. Is that his middle name? Give me some pushback if I right on that. I didn't even look that up yet, but I didn't. I just knew it was Joseph R. Biden. Is his middle name Robinette? If it is, that's hilarious. I might start calling him Robinette. Anyway, to come at Joseph R. Biden like that blows me away, because I'm like, really, if that ain't the pot calling the kettle black, because I'm like, all this, dude, y'all was running, come on, man, y'all was making a way for people to molest children, and you coming after this guy because he supports a woman's right to choose what's right for her body? Whatever, TI is what it TI is. That's why you should keep your religion far away from your politics, right? Right. All right, last thing we're going to talk about is my IPA of the week. And my IPA of the week is this Floating on Cloud 9. Whoa, this right here, look at that, like a designer IPA or something. And it says the alcohol content is 7.1%. And I'll tell you what, this is delicious. It has notes of tropical fruits. And this is really, really good. Floating on Cloud 9. How about this? Oat Milk Hazy Indian Pale Ale. That's what I got here. It's Oat Milk Hazy IPA. I can taste the goat milk. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And guess what? It ain't mad at all. This has been Urban Politics. I'm your humble host, Phys Ed Music. Join me here every week. If you want to give me some pushback, please do it right here in the video. Leave it in the comments after this video. You know what I'm saying? And please like and subscribe. Tell a friend. You know what I'm saying? And that's what's up. And as always, see you around like a donut.